Good evening. I have a prophecy for the church. Last year, I received the gift of tongues, but I will only speak in tongues in my private prayer time at home. Earlier this year, in the year of 2024, was the first time I spoke in tongues in the church. It was a Tuesday night, and I was at a prayer service. It was just a few people from my church. And one of the ladies of the church, as we had just gotten through praying and we were still meditating, she said aloud to speak to us, Holy Spirit, speak a word to us. And so immediately I started speaking in tongues and I had no control over it. So it was not as if I was willfully doing it. I had no control. So I knew it was the Holy Spirit speaking through me because I had no control over stopping. And it was interpreted, and the interpretation was written down. And I was asked to read it that following Sunday in church to the congregation because it was a warning to the congregation. It was a prophecy of warning to the congregation. But this prophecy is not that prophecy that I'm going to read to you. I do not feel a release in my spirit to read that prophecy that was spoken months ago, but I do feel strongly and led by the Holy Spirit to read this one because this one is specifically for the church world, for the church people. It's just a few pages long. I had to write it down. And when I write the prophecies, because the Lord has given me several prophecies since that first time I spoke in tongues at the prayer service. I've gotten several. And some of them were mind-blowing, and I do not feel the release to read them. But I will read and share them as the Holy Spirit leads and guides me to. In addition to sharing dreams, prophetic dreams that I have had over the past few years. So I will do it as the Holy Spirit leads and guides me to do so. So I ask that you pray for my obedience. Okay, so this prophecy is for the church and it's titled, The Lord is at Hand. I would just read it to you. I am coming soon. You must be ready, church. You must be ready. Some of you are not ready. You play church. You sin and think nothing of it. You do not provide proper correction to your children. You engage in worldly activities that are rooted in lust. You find entertainment that plants seeds to fornicate, be disobedient, steal, and lie. You sometimes think of these sins as little sins, but sin is sin, and there is a judgment attached to every sin. You don't understand the power behind sin. It's bondage. Sin is bondage, and that's why I sent Jesus to set the captives free and to deliver you from the power of darkness. You walk around thinking that you are good, and you are not. You don't forgive. You hold grudges. You gossip. You lust after other people's spouses. You talk ugly to your children and even to your spouses. You murmur and complain even when you have a lot to be grateful for. You have a religious spirit, not the Holy Spirit, for you do not show forth the fruit of the Spirit, which is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, faith, goodness, meekness, gentleness, temperance. You claim to love me, but you spend more energy on satisfying the flesh than in the word and in prayer. You secretly resent those who truly love me because their conduct and lives convict you and expose the darkness that you truly live in. I, the Lord, see everything. You love me only in lip service, but your heart is far from me. You only love what I can do for you. You do not love my word. You do not love my standard. And that is because my standard is holy. Being holy requires sacrifice, and that is something you and many other church people do not want to do. You want to live in the comfort and darkness of your wayward lives and spaces without having to change, without having to take off the old man and put on the new man. And this is why you love preachers who do not preach against sin, because those preachers keep you comfortable in your sin by speaking words that tickle your ears and melt your heart. You are afraid to listen to a preacher who speaks words that convict your heart, because a conviction of the heart means that you have to make a decision to either change or not. The way to come out of sin is to be convicted. Sin is fun, but only for a season. And then there is a price to pay. Many people cannot afford the price that is attached to the sin that they are entangled in. So they owe a debt that they cannot pay. And that's why I sent Jesus to be the propitiation for the sins of the people. Jesus Christ is the mediator between mankind and me. I am the Lord, and I judge sin. I am looking for a church that is without spot or wrinkle. I am coming soon to gather my people. Watch and be ready. So that is the prophecy. And that's what the Lord spoke to my heart. And I wrote it fluently without even having to think about what to write next. This is the prophecy. So I pray that you will receive it with an open heart and apply it to your lives.